Welcome to our breakdown of the KeysGuard Night Owl brief for November 3rd, 2025. What we're seeing right now is, well, it's a perfect storm of cyber threats. We're going to show you exactly what's happening and, more importantly, what you need to do to protect your organization, like right now. Okay, let's just jump right in. The global cyber threat level is officially high. And look, this isn't just some color on a chart. It's high because there are multiple, serious attack campaigns all hitting at the same time, and they are actively compromising businesses as we speak. And here's the grim reality of it. You've got sophisticated nation-states trying to break in from the outside, and this is the crazy part, you're potentially being betrayed by the very people you hired to help you on the inside. It's basically a two-front war. So the real question for everyone watching is, what do you actually do about this today? How do we turn all this threat intel into a solid plan of action? Well, that's exactly what we're about to lay out for you. All right, our first major alert it's a tough one to talk about. It's a story that really forces us all to ask who we can truly trust. Because the enemy, they might already be inside the building. And I'm not talking about some theoretical what-if game. No, a brand new federal case has just dropped that's sending shockwaves through the entire cybersecurity industry, and it has direct, immediate implications for your own team. So get this. The slide really exposes a terrifying new trend. We're talking about professionals, people you would hire to help you after a ransomware attack, who were allegedly working with the bad guys the whole time. This means every single one of us has to completely rethink who we give the keys to. Okay, but it's not just the human threat you have to worry about. The technical side of things is just as dangerous right now. We're tracking several critical bugs in core enterprise gear that aren't just theoretical. Nope, they're being actively used by attackers in the wild. First on the list is a huge supply chain risk involving F5, a name that's probably in, countless data centers. And this isn't just about a single flaw. We're talking about the actual theft of their architectural blueprints. And this is the classic definition of a supply chain risk, right? The attackers figured out it's way easier to hit one big software company than to try and hack thousands of their individual customers. By hitting F5, they found a backdoor into everyone who uses F5 products. So here's what you really need to get. A highly sophisticated nation-state group has F5's source code and their private vulnerability data. CISA even issued an emergency directive, which tells you just how bad this is. You have to work under the assumption that new, very powerful exploits are coming, and coming fast. Next up, we've got a really nasty vulnerability lurking inside your virtual environments. Think of it like a flaw that lets an attacker go from being a single guest in one room to suddenly becoming the master of the entire hotel, all in one move. I mean, just picture it. A guest has a key to their one little room, but they find a bug in the lock, and suddenly they've got the master key card. Now they can get into every single room, the manager's office, even the vault. That's exactly what this kind of privilege escalation does. So if you're running VMware, this has to be at the very top of your patch list. Attackers are already using this out there to turn a tiny foothold into total domination of a virtual machine. And that deadline from CISA? Yeah, that's not a suggestion, it's a serious warning. And last but not least, there's a flaw in the very system Microsoft uses to deliver security patches. And now, that same system is being used to deliver malware. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. It's an attacker's absolute dream scenario. This is literally the digital version of leaving your front door not just unlocked, but wide open. An unauthenticated RCE means an attacker doesn't need to find your keys. They don't need a password. They can just walk right in off the street and take over the whole house. And the exploit code for this one? It's already public. And that is a huge deal because it massively lowers the skill level needed to pull off the attack. Now, even unsophisticated hackers can use this flaw. So if your WSUS server is out there on the internet, it's not a question of if you'll get hit. It's a question of when.
Okay, enough of the bad news. Let's pivot and turn all this intelligence into action. We've laid out the threats. Now here is your defensive playbook for what you need to do immediately.
Think of this slide as your emergency to-do list, right now. These 5 steps are the most critical things you can do based on everything we've just talked about. Start with F5, follow CISA's directive, then hit VMware and WSUS, harden Citrix, and finally, because of that ALPHV case, start a full-on review of every third-party vendor you have. Do not wait on this. Now, if you want to detect this stuff, you have to understand how it works. With this WSUS flaw, the attackers aren't dropping some new weird-looking file. No, they're much smarter. They're hijacking a legitimate, trusted Windows service and forcing it to do something it should never, ever do, like open a command prompt just for them. And this slide shows you just how simple the detection logic can be. Your security tools should be looking for exactly this. Your WSUS service, a process you trust, suddenly spawning a command shell like PowerShell. It's like seeing a trusted bank security guard suddenly hold the door open for a robber. It is a massive red flag that should almost never happen in a normal environment. To make it even simpler, here is your priority list for the next 72 hours. F5 is number 1. Why? Because that stolen source code makes it a ticking time bomb for new 0 days. After that, VMware and WSUS, because they're being actively exploited right now. And finally, don't sleep on that Citrix flaw. It's still a huge target for attackers. Okay, let's wrap up by looking ahead. It's not enough to just react to what's happening today. We have to use this intelligence to try and predict what the bad guys are going to do next. The big takeaway here is that today's problems are basically the building blocks for tomorrow's attacks. With the F5 source code out there, expect a wave of new exploits. That VMware bug is going to become a standard part of every attacker's toolkit. And the WSUS attack was so successful, you can bet we're going to see a ton of copycats. And all of this leaves us with one kind of unsettling final thought. We are in a constant race to patch our systems, but the attackers now have the actual architectural blueprints for those systems. So as we keep running this race, we have to ask ourselves, is just patching holes still a winning strategy? Or do we need to fundamentally rethink our entire approach to defense?